I would like to call the Personnel Committee meeting for the Frederick County School Board to order. The date is June the 2nd, 2025, and the time is 4:33 p.m. We have an agenda before us. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second. The motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. I will now pass over to Dr. Hummer and pass this now over to Dr. Hummer and his team.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. So we have 4 items for you this evening. Each of these items is for information only. First, we're going to provide you with an update with where we are with staffing. So HR and all of our administrators are working very hard to fill our positions for next year. We're also going to give you an update on our recruitment and retention, as well as our employee services update. And then we're just going to provide you with some information on our grievance and concern processes and protocol review. Mrs. Frakely and her team do a phenomenal job working through this policy and regulation. We just want to provide you with some information and answer any questions that you might have about that process. So with that, I'll hand it over to Mrs. Frakely. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Hi, good afternoon. We are missing a key staff member. She is taking a well-deserved vacation, so you'll be hearing more from us. So we hope Kristen has a great time doing that. Let's ask Ms. Rinker to provide our staffing update.
Hi,
Hi, Ms. Rinker.
how's everyone?
Fantastic.
This isn't normally my part, so hopefully I won't stumble through it. This does look a little bit different because we're giving you, we're looking forward. So typically you see everything looking back. This is looking forward into the 25-26 school year. So you can see our professional vacancies, and I'll give you a minute to look over that.
And just so you guys know, we will have comparative data when we get back together in August, I believe.
And then you can see these are the vacancies by content, elementary and special education still sitting at the top that we've seen every month. And then you can see them broken down by level.
Question.
Yes.
Those numbers have pretty much stayed stagnant, haven't they? We haven't seen an increase in those vacancies, correct?
So these numbers are pretty close to what we had at the beginning of the school year. We've had a lot of movement, but our gap is still about as wide, yes. And these are the support vacancies for those staff that do not require a license, and you can see they're broken down by level as well. And you can notice we do have, again, the elementary level for the instructional assistants is still sitting at the top of our vacancies. And these are the new hires that we filled moving into the new school year. So you can see 66 new hires as of the 23rd. We've gone through many more since we did this slide. And then the transfer data and administrators, we've hired, so, you know, we've got plenty more coming to for the board to review. Any questions on that?
Thank you.
So now we'll do the recruitment and retention update. So definitely want to celebrate that at the time that we made this presentation, we'd hired 66 employees. We are rolling through the hiring. We've revamped our processes to increase the efficacy of job offers. I am very proud to say that right now, when the administrator does the recommendation to hire, we are making our call within 24 hours at this juncture. So really trying to tighten that up so we don't lose good applicants. And we were able to secure yet another course through GMU for the EDSE 501, which is a huge deal. And the completion of that course does make people eligible for provisional licensure in special education. GMU has been tremendous with the partnership and, again, offering us up to 10 slots in this course.
And they're planning on offering 10 slots again, up to 10 slots again?
We actually offered 22 slots in the first one, and then we had first dibs. I do have an email sitting in my inbox that I haven't fully processed, but I believe they had enough interest that they're going to open another section and give us first dibs on that. So we have 10 slots as of now, but if they open another slot, we could potentially get 10 more.
And do we have 10 people interested in doing this?
As of now, I have 10, yes.
Super. That's great.
Fantastic.
24 hours is incredible for job offers.
Thank you. We're really trying to work through the process. That the employment team has been incredible and responsive to trying some new things. And so we've kind of we're trying to work smarter, not harder, and get a hold of people quicker so we don't lose candidates. So thank you.
If I could just pile on the kudos for a second, because our team, Rachel says no. If I could just pile on for a second, our team does all this still pretty much on pencil and paper. And so thanks to you all and the approval of the HCM that we're very, very excited about. This process is going to look much different next year. But I will say that this turnaround time and the workload on our very small but mighty team is exceptionally incredible when you think about a 24-hour turnaround.
Thank you, Ms. Frakely. So we do have Career Connections events to bring people in. We are working, GMU's been incredible to work with, but we actually have several meetings with other universities over the summer just to see how we can continue to strengthen our community partnerships. We have started what we have called a job description refresh. So we're looking through on a cycle. We're creating a schedule of how we're going to revisit these job descriptions over the course of, longitudinally over the years to make them more accurate for what our folks are handling every single day. We're continuing to work on tiered mentorship programs. I'm focusing really heavily on how we're going to support these teachers from the retention side, from the different pathways, whether they're provisionally licensed, whether they're coming in from a typical program with student teaching, or they've gone through an alternative certificate program. And we are continuing to work on pathways to grow our own staff. Have been working really hard for the apprenticeship program, and I have a meeting this coming week to talk about a possible pathway to go from provisional to fully licensed that we can support our folks.
I actually have a question for you regarding recruiting. I know that you're doing your very best to try and fill those elementary and special ed positions, and I'm wondering, is there anything that you think the board can help you with as far as programs or incentives or any type of aspect to the hiring of elementary or special ed that we would be able to help you with? Because I think that's probably, that should most certainly be one of the primary focuses of your hiring and recruiting plans.
I think the most success that we've found has been through growing our own staff.
Okay.
So the more that we can continue to work on pathways to grow our own staff, these are people that have already shown commitment to Frederick County Public Schools and our students. And so the more we can say, we see you're committed, let's support you, and whatever we can do to continue to do that will be our most fruitful work.
So then I'll leave this out here for you and your team. If there's anything that you think could help that would need board approval, please, in our meetings that we have, anytime, please reach out so that we can help you obtain the necessary staffing that you need.
We greatly appreciate it, and we will do it. Any other questions for me?
I just want to clarify a point. Sorry to flog a dead horse here, but I just want to make sure there's been some claims that we have a lot of dissatisfied and unhappy staff leaving in droves. That is not the case, correct?
So just to clarify, at the last meeting, we did a preliminary turnover rate, which was it was a lot less than last year. We do not have the data right now to give you a hard and fast number, but we are very hopeful that we are actually decreasing our turnover rate from last year. that we will end up at the end of this season by July 1 and with a decreased turnover rate from last year. So we would turn
I'm
over
not trying to
less.
put you on the spot, but I keep hearing this over and over, and I don't see the data to support that, and I want to make sure that the public knows we don't have a mass exodus of staff leaving our
And Rachel, if you don't mind, and we can report out once we close out the books officially, which we know will be soon because our relatively soon, June 13th will be our last day to make that big final push, particularly in the Commonwealth. And so we will have a better idea, and we can give you the high level exit data.
And when do you think you'll have that information after June 13th, about how many days, weeks, months?
Well, we'll still always have some positions coming in because the June 13th is lateral moving. Anything considered a promotion we can take after June 15th.
Sure.
So I would say probably 4 weeks, a month.
Yeah,
We'll have a better
It won't
idea
take
in that
long to
time
pull
frame.
the data once we
Yeah.
are at a better point, but I would say by July 1, we'll have a really
Yeah.
good pulse on what we
Oh.
looked like from
Okay.
this past year. Yes, sir.
So July 1st?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Forgive me for asking a possibly obvious question, but you guys do exit interviews and kind of come up with the data for, top reasons.
Yeah, so that's a great question, actually. And so for the good of anyone that's watching, our lovely audience at home, so everyone that leaves fills out what we call a voluntary separation form. And so they are required to put their main reason for leaving on the voluntary separation form, but they can put up to 2 to 3 reasons. And we look at that data in depth. They also can put comments on there, and then through that form is where they request an exit interview. We keep that data separate and draw more, qualitative trends from that helps with our recruitment and retention plans.
And I will say that when we report out, it is at a very high level because that information comes to us confidentially. We want people to feel comfortable giving us a real answer. And so, we certainly don't bring straight
Specific
raw
people.
data. It is very high level to protect that so that if folks want to come back or, all of the
Exactly.
above.
Yeah,
confidential.
we report out trends and synthesis of what we hear over and over again.
Right, yeah, I just was thinking aggregate data.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Chair, can I add to this?
No.
Daggone it.
Yeah.
So a couple things with this. The first is they're not leaving in droves. And one of the things that we do monitor and we do look at, and it is going to happen in any organization, especially any school division, is there is attrition. People leave for different reasons. People leave because we have Loudoun and Prince William and Fairfax right next door, which is typically one of the main reasons that people leave is to make more money doing the same job, not in the best fantastic place is Frederick County, but they do leave and go to other places. There's also opportunities for growth. Sometimes they go and they get promotions. So overall, that's where the majority of folks are leaving. Now, are some folks leaving because of dissatisfaction? Absolutely. But that's like any organization. And when we do look at these exit surveys and when we do look at these interviews, which the team does a fantastic job, if we see trends or patterns like a specific administrator, a specific school, we look into that. And we want to make sure that we are diving into making those necessary adjustments or changes. It happens very rarely. We do not have a lot of those specific aspects of those surveys, but when it does happen, we do work together to make sure that that's happening. But Ms. Cruz, I want to go back to what you said because that is something we do every year, and that is good data for us to take a look at. But once all this season is done, we do a presentation during the personnel committee meeting where we break that down to see if there's any shifts or adjustments. We can share with you what it was last year, and I think that would be a really good kind of give you a good context of where we are last year and kind of what we're looking forward to. Of course, we just naturally take it personally when somebody is saying they were unhappy with something that happened here in Frederick County because we want to learn from that. We want to be able to do that. The last thing I want to mention, and this is something that Mrs. Frakely has been working on with our administrators, is to do these interviews sooner. So we do a intent survey now, which we roll out in January, February to get a good idea of, are you coming back next year or not? And then if they're saying maybe or no, then we have a conversation with them to say, Why aren't you coming back? Is it something we can help you with? And then we have those conversations to build that rapport and build that culture. So Mrs. Freakley and her team have done an amazing job with that because we're continuously digging into that data. So anyways, just wanted to add to that. And thank you for that question, Mr. Sturdivant, because that's something we keep an eye on.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, and I'm not, Lincoln, not trying to flog a dead horse. I know not everyone is happy here at Shangri-La, I get it. But I do know for a fact that some of the people who came in here and yelled at the board because they were dissatisfied with some of our decisions are still employees and haven't left, so that's why I bring that up.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Just to add to that, at last glance, when I looked at the data, the number one reason was still seeking growth and advancement. That has been historically what is the most commonly chosen number one reason.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rinker.
Thank you, Ms. Rinker.
Ms. Tashika Edwards-Johnson, please.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I guess the topic of the day is going to be something towards retention, but also towards exit. It's talking about retirement investment. One of the benefits under employee services that FCPS offers, of course, is retirement investments, and we want to make sure that the employees take advantage of placing, if they have the opportunity and the funds to do so out of their payroll, to place money into their investment choices, to elect into those options. We offer 2 supplemental retirement saving plans through 457 and the 403B plans, along with Roth for those who are more advanced and knows about the tax-deferred Roth plans that are out there, but it comes through our payroll. The VRS under Virginia Retirement System is a little different than the actual corporate office atmosphere. We automatically enroll all of our employees into it so that they can participate in the employee and the employer options. So it allows the individuals to know right off the bat that those plans are being available to them right then and there. They can self-register into Virginia Retirement System so that they can see what those funds are doing on a quarterly basis. We advise everyone to do that. We also advise everyone to take a moment to look into the Virginia Retirement Services and place out or update your beneficiaries because life is happening, and if something happens to you in your retirement, you want to make sure that your retirement money is going to who you best want to best serve in those instances as well. I mention all those things because, again, most people don't think about all of that at that time. This month, well, May, we congratulated a lot of great folks, about 25 people that retired from FCPS, anywhere from 2 years of service up to 20-some plus years of service. That was a great event that we held. And we're continuing to still get some individuals who are making choices right now to this day. I think we're up to like 12 people who have decided to retire out through this particular end of the school year, make choices like that. And then we'll congratulate those individuals next year when we have our retirement party for those individuals as well. So it is a great plan option for people to make choices about. They can reach out to our employee services, Rachel Beinecker, for additional consultations about the choices of retiring. They can also reach out to the Virginia Retirement Services. They have resources on the website that has great videos and great individual reading materials. They also allow you to set up in-person counseling if you so choose to. Voya Financial Advisor is our choice for our 457 and our 403B. So if individuals are looking to invest a little bit more into their funds or move some of their other retirement choices that they have with other companies in past lives, they can merge all of that into our particular systems and be able to have all the funds in one place. That is my conversational thing today. Any questions about the plan options?
Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Tashika, if I could add one thing while you're here. We've recently had 2 team members be out of the office a little bit for personal reasons. And so Tashika picked up that load and really carried it for our team during a very busy time of the year. So I just want to say thank you so much for all of your hard work in making sure that things have run smoothly on your team because that was a really heavy lift. So Thank you.
you. I appreciate the acknowledgement. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So as Dr. Hummer said, just to touch on this really quick, as an awareness for the board, for the public, there's a lot that goes on and swirls around on things like social media and the news and all of the above, word of mouth, etc. So I just wanted to present a little bit of background information on how we address grievances and concerns that are brought to the division. And of course, we handle things, the HR team, we handle things on the staff side. So there's a whole nother side of things for students, and sometimes those things overlap. But we would need our good buddy Joe Strong to talk about the student side specifically. So just for context of this conversation, we're focusing on the staff side of things. So one way a complaint can come in is through 124P, and that's complaints regarding employees. There's a whole policy. You can go read it. These are just sort of the highlights saying we will take and investigate anything that comes in regarding FCPS employees. And so what that means is if we get a complaint, we will acknowledge that complaint, and then we will work to investigate that. The next policies that we'll see have some more processed out steps. This is pretty much the extent of this policy. It is to say that we will acknowledge and investigate. There isn't any kind of response that's due back to any of the parties involved. But that is our commitment to our community to say, yep, we will absolutely look into your concerns.
Question for you, Ms. Frakely.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the 124P, do you compile data on what the types of complaints are and what schools they're from and
Yes.
so forth? I don't necessarily need to see that, but I was wondering if you could send, like, from year over year for the last 5 years, how many complaints there have been on employees, and how many ended up being true, how many ended up being not true, and, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't need names.
We can talk about how that can look, that
Yeah.
data can look, getting
Absolutely.
that to you. Mhm.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Okay, so just because I mentioned it earlier, just so you see it, 429P is the student side of our prohibition against harassment and retaliation. The language is almost exactly the same. And so this is on the student side. And again, like I said, there can be crossover, obviously, if we have a student staff member issue. But the process is the same. This is outside of anything related to Title IX. So Title IX is a completely different process. Some of the steps are mirrored, but it's different from the standpoint of, context, the way things come in, and the subject matter, of course. For Title IX, you have to meet very strict criteria of what that means. And so we're not talking about Title IX tonight. We're talking about what you see here. So notification of investigation. Investigation and review happens. Investigation report is created. The assistant superintendent for instruction, because it is on the student side, has an action in decision making. And then there's an opportunity to appeal to the superintendent and an opportunity to then appeal to the school board. All of that is very prescriptive and is very documented. And again, that's for students. You'll see here 506P. It looks almost identical. The only real change here in the process, all the pieces and parts are the same. It's just that this would go up the chain through the assistant superintendent for administration, who is over HR. So makes sense, right? Because it's staff. So all that to say, the purpose really of bringing this forward is anybody can go online and read these policies. You can read them right now if you want. So that's not, they're clear, they're there, they've been in existence for a very long time. The point really was to say to you all and the public that every concern we get, we take very seriously. There is a prescriptive process for how we address them. It is frustrating when people want more information than we can give. It's absolutely frustrating, and I completely get that. But in the same respect that we would give somebody on either side of that coin, being the complainant or the respondent in a grievance, everybody really deserves confidentiality. And that might not be a very popular answer. And we do work absolutely in the spirit of transparency in all that we do, but these are personnel matters. And so what we can share, we share. But really, I just want to assure you and the public that everything that comes to us is thoroughly and completely investigated. So,
If I may, just to sort of reiterate what you're saying, I mean, we're a $500 million business.
yes, sir.
I mean, we're a business at the end of the day, well, albeit we're a public business, but there are several other public businesses out there, and you will not get HR information about any of those employees any more than you're going to get HR information about the employees here. So keep that in mind. There are things that we can say, there are things that we can't say, and if you don't get a response for us, I guarantee it's because we can't say. So it's the way it goes.
I'm happy to answer any questions, but these are the channels and avenues that folks can come to us in a formal way. Obviously, you can we certainly want folks to start with their buildings, right? If there's something that your teacher can address or your building level principal can address that can be worked out, start there, right? We try really hard to work through a progressive process, but in terms of formality, these are some avenues that folks have, and so through these, as well as formal and informal, right? These are very formal, informal things. Come to the buildings. Hey, we work that out. But everything that comes to us gets investigated. So I just really wanted to drive that home, hopefully for the benefit of the public to know.
Thank you, Ms. Frakely.
Yes,
Do
sir.
we have any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, that was a quick meeting. Here's your recap. Any questions for anybody on anything?
Any questions for the recap? All right.
I'd like to make a motion to end the meeting. Adjourn.
I second it. Adjourn it, yeah. So there's been a motion on the table to adjourn the meeting, and it's been properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.